So
Okay,
how's school going?
it's going really well. I'm finishing up my class. This is my final project for my arts entrepreneurship class, and we had to interview someone who we looked up to who was an entrepreneur. So I
That
chose
is
you.
so cool. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Well, you've been around our crazy lifestyle that we've had with weddings since, gosh, you were a baby.
Oh yeah,
I'm
exactly.
thinking, your father, that was 98. We built Cara Hills one.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it has been a minute.
Yeah,
I
like
know.
right there, a year since I was born.
Isn't that wild? I know. What year were you born?
99. So I mean right before.
Gosh, your whole life.
Yeah, the whole life.
Unbelievable. Well, what can I help you with?
Okay, so Miss Caroline, I would just like to ask you a little bit about your business. If you could just tell me a little bit about your current business, how you run it, and what you like about it.
So let's see. I was born in the wedding industry, basically. My oldest sister, when I was 11 years old, bought a company called Memphis Bridal Gallery, which was a high-end wedding boutique. And she ran that from the time I was 11 to 18. And then at 18, my parents built Cara Hills One. So that was 1998. And I ended up coordinating at age 18 and doing flowers, cutting those in. And I did a little bit of prep work in the kitchen because we were all inclusive wedding venue. And there's three sisters that ran it. And then our parents kind of just background managed and that side. And then in 2006, I got married to my husband, James, and he was a builder. And with our parents, we went in and did a partnership and built Cara Hills 2. So that was 2009. So 14 years we've
Yeah.
been running that property. We were partners at first, but then we bought them out about 6 years ago. So I have been in the wedding industry, literally coordinating in wedding side since 1998, but really a lot younger than that since, the bridal industry side. So weddings are all I know. That is my whole life. Um, Marrying the builder in 2006, he thought he could do it on the side, then he got drug into it. So James has turned into full on, he does coordinating, he's a maintenance man, a landscape man, the floor guy. He's now the trash man. Since we got a trash truck, he's hauling trash. So self-employment, there's two of us that run anywhere from 75 to 100 weddings a year. So we do quite a few. We've got teams that come in of catering and flowers and cakes. But as far as our main building, it's two people that operate it. So
Oh
it's
wow,
kind of a
yeah.
unique situation.
Yeah, you guys are just a jack of all trades, aren't you?
James, it does help when you're self-employed to have, us being a team, we have a very amazing work set together. He knows his jobs, I know my jobs. We don't ever fuss, which, my parents, I can't say the same for them. Mom and dad, when they built, it was, different temperaments for sure. So luckily I married an amazing man with amazing temperament that can put up with my mess. And if I can say, "Hey, James, it'd be great to create this," then he can go build it, or he designs it, or so he's a very gifted man to be able to do, build anything, but build a wedding venue. And he does all of our lovers lane stones, or she does sandblasting. And James is a pretty special guy, and he does our tours on property. So he does the majority of booking our couples, um, and then I do all the fluff and all
Mhm.
the coordination side.
Did you ever think when you started the business that you would ever go into it with someone you were romantically involved with?
Absolutely not. I can't believe God sent somebody for that, because maybe because I watched my parents and they definitely had different temperaments, and it worked. But ultimately three girls were running that property. But no, I had no, and that it worked so smooth.
Mhm.
And we've been married for almost 17 years. So we've known each other for 18 years. And it's pretty cool to have a partner. It is a partnership, but to be married to someone that it's cool. pretty cool stuff.
I had to ask because we had an assignment earlier in the semester that asked that question. Would you ever start a business with someone you were involved with? And I said, definitely not.
No,
Not
you know,
happening.
that is, and there's a lot of businesses that fail because of that. People think, I watch all sorts of different, whether photographers come in or videographers or all these different entrepreneurs that, hey, with this person, they can be a great, like a photographer, they can be a great videographer. I've seen multiple photographers try and jump and do both. And I watch behind scenes, and you see them fussing and yelling at each other and fighting, and or they're fighting in front of the couple. And that I'm as blessed as I am to have somebody that there's just none of that. You don't see. I think we might have had 3 little tiffs in our entire marriage, never in wedding world. But it's like it's a very unique situation to have someone that is your right hand. Especially weddings are so stressful. Weddings is one of the most stressful. I think funerals, weddings, is it real estate? You might know that more, but 3 very stressful things in life, and so that we have all these people that are stressed typically around us, and that we were both calm and level-headed and just smooth things like we do is pretty cool. But typically any kind of partnership is very hard to do, whether family or romantic relationship or even like a best friend. Sometimes the best of friends go into these businesses together, and then ultimately the business falls apart because of. So very fortunate to be one of the strong. We call ourselves the super team.
Oh, definitely. And I've seen you guys in action, and that's what it is.
Our work days consist typically, if we do 3 weddings in a week, let's just say 1 wedding. We had a wedding last week. They were here for 14 hours. 14 hours from when the vendors arrived, then 13 hours. The bride was here doing hair and makeup and all this stuff all day. I've talked all day.
It's okay.
But 14 hours, that doesn't include us setting up and cleaning and turning lights on and doing all that stuff. Then once they left, we clean up after them. So 21-hour days.
Yeah.
And we're still bebopping and smiling, we put it on Facebook, but we really are. We kind of, have all these different situations that come up in small business, and you just got to learn to roll with things. My Sunday wedding, I never had this in all of my life of wedding, 26 years. The bride hired a band, didn't hear from them. So she hired another band. I had 2 bands at one wedding, and one was like 12-piece and one was 5-piece, and they fought each other the whole time. One band was mad. This band took over. It was hysterical. But, things like that, just, you learn how to kind of roll with it, especially in a situation as a wedding where, you just got to smooth things over. But 2 bands was impressive. Like 30, there was 30 between the setup crews, the managers, all the rest of them. There's like 30 band people here.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How do you deal with a situation like that where you do have maybe something goes wrong and you have to think on your feet last minute? How do you handle that?
It is, it was a lot. Sunday was a lot because no one knew what their jobs were. The groom couldn't even really decide which one. He was telling one, hey, if they can't play it, then you back up. So it was a lot of background miscommunication, especially for both the bands. And, you just kind of learn I do a lot of smiling. Yeah, even if I'm super stressed, I can't let people see that. I've got to be the calm, cool one in the room, because if I get stressed and I'm supposed to be running everything, then it all can fall apart. So smiling and having a very easy disposition. I don't fuss at people. If people want to listen to me when I'm coordinating, then they listen. If they don't, then they kind of freak out right before they walk and they don't know what to do. So it kind of works both ways. But yes, I get stressed. I get faced with a lot of very unusual, stressful situations, whether it be music side of the coordination or a lot of family drama. Those are things that, I didn't go to school to handle psychology, but I do feel like, I kind of get put in that place of psychology a little bit because you've got all these different family dynamics to work out. So gotta love wedding coordinating though. There's nothing like it. There's definitely an excitement, and probably because I've just been raised around it my whole life. I've learned to handle certain situations that are not normal. So,
Would you say that was like your dream career, as being a wedding coordinator?
no, it was not. But obviously God felt that was the place I need to be. I had a marine biologist early in life, but I lived by no ocean. And then it was news broadcaster, which kind of, I feel like, plays a little bit into it because you're still kind of, you're in front of people. Reporting the news, no. Reporting things that are going wrong, maybe.
That's kind of the news.
Yeah. It's still, like, I love people. So I think when you have a love for people and love, like, my number one goal is I want to make everybody feel comfortable. Even if I'm not comfortable, I'm not a natural born speaker at all. In fact, every day before I go in front of, my rehearsals and, I have to talk in front of lots of people. I'm nervous but if I show that I'm nervous, then I make everybody else nervous. So I've kind of learned to take that on as just me be calm, and smiling, I think, has helped me a lot. And people love to see a smile. They love to see someone that, has that warmness to them. And being a people person helps with that, I think, a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that was definitely very helpful. Do you think that you've just gained that skill over time, or do you have like a ritual you do before you go and talk in front of a wedding party?
I don't. I think it's been definitely learned through time. I definitely say lots of prayers over certain groups than others. I do, I know walking into different weddings, every wedding is so different. I hear a lot of the background stuff because I do all the coordinating with the couples before. So today I was in 5 different appointments. One of my couples, there's a divorce in the family. They don't want to sit near each other. They want to be around each other. And so I know that going in, that's going to be a little bit of tension walking into that rehearsal. Most of our families can really have that. They have a different control, and they say, you know what, this is all about our kids. It's not about our problems in the past. Let's push it to the side. But some truly don't. And I've seen that spill over into events. And it's a truly awful thing. To witness a wedding go wrong because of, bad family ties of some sort. So there's definitely some praying that goes involved. I've always told my couples, I feel like they need premarital counseling. Some of my couples will tell me, we don't need that, we're good. And those are the ones I definitely say extra prayers over, because they do. I think everybody needs premarital counseling, whether they want to admit it or not. But marriage is a tough thing for sure. And so, any kind of extra help you can get in marriage and through life is definitely something I think our couples need.
Yeah, I have to definitely agree.
Right?
I definitely agree.
Counseling. I think you need lots of counseling for sure.
So you've been in the industry for 26 years, I believe you said.
Years.
What has changed the most from you starting out to you now?
Is that personal or like, because traditions have changed drastically? So just the wedding tradition in general, from no first looks ever, to, keeping it where the bride does all the pictures after and those kind of things, to even like the seating chart, all of that has totally changed. As far as me personally growing and changing, yes, it's been massive. Of course, anytime you're in a career this long, and you go through as many weddings as I've done, you're going to grow and you're going to learn and you're going to see things that can be perfected and done better. But the traditions, I think, of weddings in general in that time, even just the last 10 years, have been drastic. And I think that's a lot of society stuff too that's changed. But Yeah, anytime with business, I think you definitely have that growth. I know my husband being in no weddings to 14 years of weddings. That's an amazing thing because you go from a builder construction worker until all of a sudden, you're greeting guests, you're booking weddings, and that's been probably the biggest that's been probably the biggest change, I think, in our company, watching him grow, and he's really good. Everybody loves James.
Yeah.
He's a really great coordinator and owner, which is pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, you guys definitely make people feel welcome and feel special, even if it's just like a little party you guys are throwing at your house. It's just you guys have that about you, and I think that's really great to have in your business.
We definitely try.
Even if it's a little hard.
Yeah, anytime you entertain, especially personal entertaining, is difficult for me because I'm used to, wedding is such a different side, but when you're personally entertaining, I feel like, you're running here, and I don't get enough quality time to visit. But it's probably I know my brides feel the same way because they've got this party and they're getting pulled here and here and here. And so I see it in both sides. I think that's kind of any time you entertain, you have a little bit of that. Wedding side, it's just more controlled. I know what my job is. I know where I need to be. I know everything that needs to happen. So, and I can't cook. So that's another big problem. I don't cook for our weddings. We hire that out. The husband cooks. So that's something that I don't have control of when our own parties. I'm working on that.
The food's always good when I've been, so I think you're fine.
James, I like the guests to stay alive. I am not a cook. I can decorate, but I cannot cook.
Hey, it looks great and it tastes good, so that's the important part.
It's that teamwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Teamwork. So when you get married one day, Tori, and I know your father has probably preached to you about this, you want to find that gel, and you pray so hard about it that right person comes into your life, because the wrong person, can be awful.
How has like COVID and the past couple years, how has that affected your business?
COVID was a true nightmare. We thought there was so much. I never knew the government could shut your business down. And so I think going through that, we truly, it's still kind of mind blowing how all that happened and how it affected us. We definitely were on our hands and knees praying a lot. We did not see, we didn't see any of that coming. We knew that, okay, there was something bad, but again, back to the shutdown, when the government shut us down, you can, like any business, a store gets closed down, people are back in your business the next day. With a wedding, you get shut down, they don't come back the next day. In fact, COVID terrified people from gathering, and we own a gathering business. We own a business that, hey, everybody get together and let's party. Well, the government's told us we can't do that anymore. And even when we opened back up, it was restricted to 10 guests, per grouping, and then at 20, and then it was, it kind of inched on. But nobody wants to spend money on a big wedding with 10 people, and that's not something that our business, we were terrified, how we were going to survive going through a shutdown. And then I had to cancel 47 weddings, not cancel. 47 weddings were booked, because it was March when it hit, when we were shut down. And so that's going into heavy wedding season. And so all of those girls we had to cancel out. And they were asking, when should we move it? Should we move it 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? I had no clue what to tell them. And so we were just kind of trying to figure it out, I guess, like everybody else was. But it was truly a terrifying time to have a huge asset and to, have as big of an asset and then have it shut down. And yes, we got a little bit of government help here and there, but it was nothing. And even like it kind of rippled through the years, because now all these girls' weddings were supposed to take place, within the next month or 2 or 3 or 4 months. Now I have moved them to new dates, which took up all the new booking dates. So we didn't even just lose that first group, we lost. So it was really difficult. most everybody was so awesome and so sweet, and they understood. I think I had one bride that was like, "This is the only date I can get married," and she was not nice. But all the 46 of the 47 girls were awesome, and they all ended up getting married. Some of them, we had a couple of them that came in and got married with just a few family members. And we let them do that, no charge, in the property. And then they ended up coming back and having the big wedding later because they wanted to go ahead and get married. It was insurance things that were going on, or they had bought a house and they were supposed to be moving into it in a month. So they didn't want to push that off. So we're like, well, let's just go ahead and get y'all married, and then we'll come back and do the big wedding. So we did a lot of extra stuff in that time to help girls because we were just as devastated for them, as they were kind of for us. So it was definitely a rough patch. But after it was all over, we appreciated things very differently. And we appreciate people being in the property differently. And we appreciate, tours differently. You appreciate little things that you weren't thinking about before it was all taken away.
A lot of businesses didn't make it out of COVID. Was there ever a moment where you thought maybe you guys weren't going to either?
Absolutely. We had a couple moments. I remember we were sitting in our hot tub and we were closed indefinitely. And we were going, so how does this work? We have all these bills that come. The bills didn't stop. Yes, electricity went down a little bit. Water usage went down a little bit. Lighting, the things that make the business run, we could shut those things off and save. But you still have a huge mortgage. You have all these different pieces that come every month, whether you have, people in your building or not. And so there was definitely some scary times where like, how long do we get shut down? If a gathering business is shut down for 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, and again, you've scared the whole population of gathering, then how do we get people to gather again? But we have been so blessed. It's been a heavy influx this last year. And we have been so slammed because I think people were so told not to gather, and people are finally like, I want to gather. I miss people. So that's been great. It's still not to the level it was before COVID, but that it's at the level it is and that we are so busy as we are now is just a huge godsend. So, but definitely scary times. That was rough, very rough for a lot of us.
Yeah, I never even took into consideration those filling up your like new booking dates as well. I never thought of that. So you said that and I was like, oh my God, yeah.
The wedding industry wasn't even compensated really for that at all. Because it was like, oh, well, y'all be open again. And, they had PPP and some SBA loan stuff that was out there. None of the banks knew what they were doing. All the people that we were talking to, it was like, well, ask this person. Well, we don't know. We'll put you on hold. And so we kept getting a runaround. And even after everything was over, the PPP, which is Paycheck Protection, we found out like we were so underpaid through any of that because they didn't factor in, like, again, a lot of banks didn't know how to do it. It was so new and it was just kind of pushed out. Our business bank, they were completely lost. And they actually called us at one point because we had another vendor give us their banker. They called us and said, hey, how did you get that? We're like, what? And again, from what we understood afterwards is that it was such a little amount that it should have been weighed differently, but nobody knew what they were doing. So, and we were grateful for any help, but again, it was, the loss of revenue and then putting the new dates to dates that we should have been booking. It was all just a mess, but we were out of it. So, yeah. So we're seeing people that they want to be around people again. So that's just been a huge blessing.
Yeah. Huge. So I just want to kind of wrap up a little bit. Don't want to take up too much time. I do appreciate you taking your time again to interview for me, but I just wanted to ask, knowing all that you know now with your business, if you had to start from scratch again, what would you do differently?
As far as if I did a wedding business again, or if I did something totally different?
Ooh, both, if you have time to answer.
So Wedding business again, I don't think I do much different at all. We've surrounded ourselves with an amazing caterer, amazing florist, amazing cake artist. We're an all-inclusive wedding venue. We have a linen company that's all-inclusive. We have amazing, their whole team is just incredible. So they walk in, it's a stress-free environment. They tell me colors, they pick out their cake, they pick out their flowers, they pick out their menu, and then they get married. So it's not, you're not running around doing all this stuff. So I think as far as our business motto and how it's set up, it's dreamy. It's a perfect situation. If I left this and did something different, maybe go the real estate side. I don't know. We've kind of toyed with that when we retire from the wedding industry, because I know that day will happen maybe one day soon. I do feel like God definitely put me in this business for a reason. And again, with my husband as well. Self-employment's been awesome. I don't answer to anybody except myself. I don't have a boss over me. My husband, he is equal partner. So he does his thing, I do my thing, and that's lovely. The negative side of self-employment and having your own business is you've got to figure out your time. Because we're based, you know, if a bride calls, said they want this date for a wedding, like we just had a call two days ago. They want Christmas night. Oh. You know, and it's hard because especially after COVID, you know, do you turn away business? Do you not? You know, where you gotta where's that sacrifice lie? And you know, Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. So I really battled it. It's still up in the air if we're doing a Christmas wedding or not. But you know, a lot of our vacations come if we're booked for the summer and we did cancellation, we're on last minute deals booking our trip. So there's a lot of perks to owning your own company and being your own boss. And then you do have that negative. I think one of the big negatives has been insurance. So like companies you work for have typically great insurance. Well, being self-employed, that's a whole different side. So there's big perks to both ways. But like I said, as far as our business, I don't think I'd change much of anything. If I could redesign a few places in the building, because we did build it, that would happen. But other than that, I think our team and the layout is perfect. I definitely wouldn't change the partner because he's awesome.
Yeah. I would hope you wouldn't.
No, the partner is stuck. He is staying. He is stuck. He's trapped.
And I'm glad you guys went into the wedding business, because then I got to meet you guys and watch you guys do this really awesome job of just creating wonderful memories for people. So
yeah, it's been a really unique thing. Like, so my dad and mom, they were forefront wedding starters. There was no wedding venues that were all inclusive in '98, and now they are everywhere. So they were like the founding fathers of wedding venues in the Mid-South. So that's a pretty cool thing to have. And again, like my dad was a pilot, my mom was post office, and that those two came together. I think they never wanted to retire. So they're like, let's just do a wedding venue. And then for it to spill over not to one venue, to be able to add a second venue in the same area, we're only 15 minutes apart from each other, and have equal business was pretty cool stuff too. So now we've now sold that property. We have renamed this property after our little girl that we adopted. So it's pretty neat to have, like I said, having the two, selling the one, and then now we have like a legacy going on with our daughter. So
yeah, that's amazing. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you've been slammed all day, but I really appreciate it. And this has been really helpful. I learned a lot more about your business than I knew before.
Oh, so cool. I love you so much. And I'm so proud of you. Everything you're doing. You want a wedding venue? Number one is. No, I tell you what, it is truly, like I said, it's a unique business, and I can tell you stories. One day I will have an amazing book.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
I've got, you know, it'll be good stuff. But I think that's kind of probably that next level. In retirement, we'll write the after the wedding book.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Tori.
Bye.
Love you. Congrats. See you later.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye.